And now it's time for Guerilla Roundup. They'll let you know what happened overnight when things transpire you whilst you sleep. Right there in the loop you keep.
Well, hello and welcome to Guerilla Roundup for day 2 of the final test from the SCG. My apologies for not doing one yesterday. I actually fell asleep when we should have been doing it, so my bad. I'm very happy to be joined again by Ed Mace, who's going to be doing the summarizing for us today. G'day, Ed. How are you going?
Hello. Yeah, I'm good. It was an interesting day, I thought. One of the more even days we've had this series, I think, in my opinion.
Feels like a proper test match, doesn't
It does.
it?
Very nice. Yeah.
So maybe to start with, you can just summarize where we started, where we ended up with the scores.
Yeah, England resumed on 211 for three after a reduced day yesterday, and they had their two best batsmen in and set very well. They had Joe Root and Harry Brook in, both in the 70s, looking to just pile on runs on what was a good batting pitch. And they didn't quite go to plan, all things considered. They finished on 384 before Australia got to 166 for two in their reply.
Okay, thank you for that. And there's quite a lot to unpack in that. We had an extra half hour, start half an hour early today to make up for lost time yesterday. So we started the day with Root and Brook at the wicket, uh, and 211 for three quickly became 226 for four. How did that come
Mm.
about?
Yeah, Brook got kind of caught out. It was just one of Brook's more loose shots. He felt like he'd had mostly chanceless innings up to then, which is why it was frustrating. He got out in the manner that he did, caught flicking to, well, attempting to flick to third man and then ending up edging to first slip. Smith pouching a solid catch. Um, it was another good ball from Boland who got him, but in the end, nothing too serious. Brook was very frustrated with himself after that one. Given the position and given how well they'd looked the day before,
Yeah.
in the sunshine, with the pitch, he was very frustrated to not get his team figures.
Yeah, the pitch looked pretty good today. It didn't seem to have any devils in it, did it?
No, I agree. It was tiny bit of variable bounce, but for the most part, nothing to trouble anyone that got in really.
Yeah. And then Stokes came in and left fairly quickly. Tell us about
Yeah,
that one.
it was Stark again. I mean, I feel like we talk about this every time we do one of these roundups that Stark has got Stokes again. I think I forget the number now. I think it's 14 times he's been dismissed by him, and edged behind a really good ball, one that kind of got better every time we looked at it on replay. We'd initially thought that there maybe wasn't an edge. The keeper Kerry seemed fairly convinced. Stark was somewhat sure. They went up and reviewed it, and then it was one of those delayed frames on Snicko that showed that he probably had hit it. Um,
Yeah.
Nothing to be too frustrated about this time with Snicko. I think it was probably the right call, but it obviously having the frame delay makes it look like you know,
Slightly
it's come
dodgy.
back to bite England again. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that had England at 229 for five. And I've got to say, judging from some of the comments coming through on YouTube, a lot of England fans just get slightly re-traumatized when a couple of wickets fall quickly and feel like the end may be anytime soon. But that didn't happen, did it?
No, not at all. We had one of the better partnerships of the series for England. Not quite 100 when we're not there yet, but Roots and Jamie Smith batted very nicely together, scoring at a decent rate. It must have been 23 overs. I make it 20, nearly 24 overs to put on there 90, 96, 94. Sorry, which is a strong effort against an aging attack with an aging ball. In terms of it wasn't doing much, and the bowlers were getting very tired out there. But they punished them, and they mostly, scoring however way they wanted. And it wasn't until just before lunch that came to an end.
But before that, Joe Root reached his 100, didn't he?
He did, yes. Uh, just another exceptional knock. One of I think it will go down as one of his best in a way, not because of the game circumstance, given that it's fifth test in a series that's already wrapped up, but for how chanceless it was and he
Mm.
strolled to his 160.
Yeah, he
And
never looked threatened at
such a
all, did
comfortable
he?
rate. Not at all. No, they were. I feel like all the other batsmen had given chances before they'd got out. Root's only real chance was the thing that eventually dismissed him.
I also think that having Root there had a very positive effect on Brooke, even though he played the occasionally uh, rash shot, let's say. I think having Root in his ear to say, settle down, don't keep doing that, was
Yeah,
probably instrumental in getting him to 84. And I think for Jamie Smith too, Jamie Smith didn't look all that solid some of the time, but I also think Root has a great impact on whoever's batting with him.
yeah. He's an exceptional leader. Not really in the kind of outspoken type, just for how good he is. It's just oozes class, and it feels like all the other England batters need their hand held to some extent. And he's the one that's able to do that. He can kind of guide whoever he's batting with. He bats
Yeah.
exceptionally well with pretty much all of them, I think.
Yeah.
And there's a good example of that today.
I think it's fair to say that Australia was starting to look pretty rattled. The backup bowler, well, basically their fourth bowler in the form of a combination of Green and Webster, neither of them looked in the least bit threatening. And they turned to Head and Labuschagne, of all people, to do some bowling for them. Uh, and Smith got out. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I think for all the talk this series about bad dismissals, I think this is the worst for me. Um, Mostly because of who was bowling the ball. And Labuschagne in that over, I think that was it the fourth bowling over? Yeah. So he'd bowled three bouncers already. One that had just been called for a wide because it was flying over head height. And he gets this one that pitches must have been about halfway. Jamie Smith takes a side step across his wicket and heaves something into the offside. Um, and then Boland has all day to take an easy catch. And on 46, about 15 minutes before lunch, I think it's one of the worst decisions that an England batter has made this series. Beyond frustrating, especially for Smith, who does need a score on 46, scoring very quickly, and had been given chances before as the other thing. He'd had
Mm.
let offs with Cam Green's no ball, and then um, the edge, the next delivery after that, which kind of flew between Webster and Carey.
Yes.
To have three lifelines and to not make any of it count, really, in the grand scheme of things, is a very it's a damning indictment of what this England batting lineup have been doing all Australian summer.
Yes. Yeah. I usually wait to the end of the program for this, but for me, the gorilla moment of the day occurred when Smith was out. And the expletive from the bear who was on air at the time was as loud as I've heard him. Words about fucking idiots were involved.
Yeah.
And it was just so predictable in some ways and so
Mm.
frustrating at the same time. Because from there, where England were looking reasonably good at 323 for five, they ended up 384 all out.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
if he'd stayed there, there was a chance of getting to 450, 500.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was extraordinarily frustrated. Jacks came in and made a few runs. He made 27, didn't he?
Yeah. Looked fine. Not a huge amount to say. It was Nisa who got him, who kind of was warming up with the new ball. Once that new ball had been taken, yeah. Wood Jackson's dismissal was 92 overs in. So they had 12 overs of the new ball, and Nisa had taken three or four of those. And he started to warm up, and he kind of cleaned things up very quickly.
Yes.
He got Will Jacks, and then from there, it changed the way the England batters wanted to play. They got a little bit more impatient, and that always spells the end of things very quickly for this lineup.
Yeah, the last four wickets fell for nine runnings, including Root for 160,
Yeah.
Cass for one from Green, although I think Green actually deserved a wicket today. He'd have played
Mm.
bowled a lot better today than he did yesterday, and he'd had
Yeah.
that wicket from a no ball. So I think that was fair enough. And Nisa ended up with four wickets for 60.
Yeah.
But you know, to end up with only 384 must have been very disappointing for you as an English supporter to see.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it felt like they could have got at least 100 more at certain points in that innings. Given where they were 57 for three, and to reach the kind of the stability they had, they'd done so much hard work the day before. They'd done a decent amount of work this morning uh, to get to where they got to was underwhelming, and kind of you knew that would be a kind of a downer going into the Australian innings, and we definitely saw that with the way the bowlers kind of responded to the situation.
Yeah, I think Australia got out of jail, to be honest, after
Yeah.
going in without a spinner, which I think was a dreadful decision. There were 8 overs of spin altogether, four from Head, three from Labuschagne. Oh, actually, Labuschagne was bowling medium
Mm,
pace filth, wasn't he?
yeah, it was.
And Bo Webster bowled 1 over a spin, which was pretty ordinary when they were trying to get through to the new ball. But I
Mm,
think Australia will be heaving a sigh of relief that they got out of that as cheaply as they did.
yeah.
So they came to tea early because England were all out about 20 minutes before the normal tea break. So we had an extended final session of the best part of 3 hours, in fact.
Mm.
Um, and Head and Weatherall opening against an opening attack of Carson Potts. How did that look?
It was a complete disaster for England, really. They felt like, as an opening pair, I mean, Head's been excellent, but Weatherall's been someone they could look to get at, these opening bowlers. Potts, as the entry to the series, had a real shocker. It was incredibly loose, bowling not quick enough to be threatening at all. No real consistency to his line and length, just routine loose deliveries that were being punished by these two. And they just raced to their 50 partnership. Cars had individual deliveries that looked good, but nothing he could string together, um, unfortunately, which has kind of been the story for his series. Even though he bowled excellently in the fourth test, it was back to kind of what we'd seen from the first three from him.
Yeah.
And Travis Head was punishing everything as per, and it got out of hand quite quickly.
Well, I mean, it seemed to me that someone had said to someone in the England lineup, "Oh, bowl short outside the off stump to Travis Head. That's sure to get him out." And they just kept doing
Yeah,
it and feeding him. That's what he loves is that short shoot outside the off stump. Um,
yeah,
Jake Weatherall, frankly, I'm not sure that unless he does something extraordinary in the second innings, I'm not sure that he's got a long-term future with Australia as an opener. It wasn't hostile, the bowling to him today, but he still didn't look comfortable, did he?
no, not at all. Stokes came on and did a lot better, and Tongue I thought did much better than the two
Yes.
opening bowlers. But even so, yeah, whether it would have been a chance for him on a good pitch to go and score some runs and kind of cement his place, but he didn't take advantage of it, at least in this innings.
Yeah, I
So yeah, I'm
agree.
not really sure how much more we'll see of him,
Yeah.
depending on how things go for the rest of the match.
I must say, Stokes coming on was a huge relief, I think, for England because he bowled both economically and with some venom.
Yeah,
Um, although even his lines were a bit awry, but at least he didn't bowl the rubbish that Carson
yeah,
Potts have been offering up.
yeah.
And Tongue, I thought bowled better, but he did have the occasional bad ball, which got
Mm-hmm.
punished, particularly by Head. But Labuschagne got played into form, I think.
Yes, I
He,
would
he
agree.
was quite scratchy at first, but there were some bad balls that he was able to hit, and he looked reasonably good until he was out for 48.
Yeah, uh, yeah. There was that kind of period in that final session where England just had nothing going for them. I thought they were dropping catches again, Ben Duckett again, um, but yeah, regardless, it just felt like whether it's a leadership problem or just an execution problem, they weren't coming at Australia with anything substantial to really take good wickets, and and they were punished for that. Labuschagne and Head looked good. They just kind of just carved them apart really whenever it was convenient. Um,
Yeah, they put
and they were beginning.
105 in
Yeah,
what just over 18 overs.
yeah,
So
it was quick.
it was quick, And the problem from England's point of view is the deficit just came down really quickly. Um, Once Labuschagne was out, they basically shut up shop, sent in Nisa as a night watchman. But even then, I don't think England bowled well. They didn't bowl at stumps. Nisa's one off
No.
15, but I reckon of those 15 deliveries, he would have been able to leave probably 12 of them, something like that. Uh, I just think England's bowling was back to its worst that we
Mm.
saw earlier on in the series, and it just sort of gives it to England. Somebody in our chat said, "Look, uh, Australians' batting has not been good this series, but it hasn't had to be because the English bowling has been so poor."
Yeah,
It
it's been
sums it
such a
up.
shame because it was an area we thought we could really compete in this Ashes, and part of it's due to the injuries, but part of it is just not coming with the right plans and not executing in the appropriate
Yeah.
way. I don't think they were ever intending Brydon Cast to play all five tests. I think that's
Mm.
an injury based thing. Potts was probably going to get one of the five, and Tongue one or two. But so it is a cobbled together attack in a sense. But regardless, they've got enough quality to bowl far better, and the conditions we're seeing are not that dissimilar to
Mm.
English conditions on a good pitch, where you do just have to work really hard for your wickets, and they've not been able to do that. It's been
Yeah, well, Braden Cast
yeah,
showed in the last Test match. I mean, although he'd taken the most wickets before Melbourne, it's also fair to say he hadn't bowled well till then. But
no,
in Melbourne, he
no, I
did
agree.
bowl well. And I think people were hoping, well, he can repeat that here in Sydney and put some pressure on Australia. And there was none of that from Cast at
Mm,
all, was there?
yeah,
There was a dropped catch too. It wasn't very costly because it was Weatherall, but
mm,
I can't remember who dropped it.
yeah, it was Duckett. Yeah,
Duckett. But it was sort of indicative of the whole day for England. I thought it was very much Australia's day today,
mm,
and they put themselves in a pretty strong position. They're only what about 218 runs behind, 8 wickets in
yeah,
hand. If
should be
they can
comfortable.
keep this up, they'll be in well potentially in a dominant position by the end of tomorrow. But there's a chance for England to come back and have at them, but there's only how many overs have gone so far? 34 overs. So there's the ball's starting to lose its shine. It's going a bit soft.
Yeah,
They're really going to have to drag something out of the barrel to make Australia really work for their runs tomorrow.
yeah, I agree. I think we'll end up seeing a lot of Will Jacks and maybe even Joe Root just trying to claw it to get anything out of this surface when the four fast bowlers are tired because they must be really feeling it at this stage, especially Carson Stokes. I'd
Yeah,
be surprised if they're able to bowl with the same intensity that we kind of need from them to take wickets. A lot will rest on Tom and Potts as the fresher guys, but I think they'll have to turn to spin more quickly than they'd like to when they know that the surface probably isn't amazing for spin at the
yeah.
minute.
I should mention that we finished play it after one ball of an over
Mm,
at the close because it lifted, came off the shoulder of the bat or the glove and hit Nisa in the arm. He was quite sore, but he was eventually ready to bat again. And then it started raining a bit, and the umpire said, "Okay, that's enough. We'll go off now."
yeah,
So Nisa will resume tomorrow, or he may say he's injured, and they may just put in their normal number four anyhow in Smith. Uh,
yeah,
but either way, there's a lot of work ahead of England tomorrow.
yes, definitely. Yeah, it could get
So
out of hand very quickly.
yeah. So your highlight of the day, what was the standout moment for you? And it doesn't have to be a great one.
That's a good question. I, I mean, I always love watching Root bat. I think it's
Yes.
such an excellent thing, and the way he kind of progressed through his innings was just showed his class. I think, and the milestones keep ticking along. I know that he's getting closer and closer to Tendulkar's run record and the centuries record as well. It's all getting very exciting on that front. So that would probably be my personal moment for sure.
Yes, indeed. He's now level with Ricky Ponting on the number of centuries scored. And I think he's four behind Jack Ellis.
Mm, yeah, that's right.
And is it 10 behind Tendulkar now?
I believe so. I think it's
Yes.
51. Yeah,
So, I mean, the rate he's going, he's got to be in a very good chance of getting there. He's just had a purple patch over the last few years, and I'm really pleased. Not simply because I don't have to see Matthew Hayden running naked, but to see him prove to Australians that he is actually a truly great batsman. And today's innings was a perfect example of that, because I don't think anybody else scoring runs without really struggling today, with the possible exception of Travis Head, who really haven't mentioned a lot. I thought Head actually batted beautifully until the last half hour or so, when he was showing signs of exhaustion. He'd been batting for 2.5 hours by then, and was playing some loose shots. I think he was lucky not to have to face the ball a lot in the last 20 minutes or so. But he'll be refreshed tomorrow. Well, I mean, that's another thing. So there's one over and one ball to go. Nisa is on strike as night watchman. And what would you normally expect to do? To keep him on strike so you can have a go at Head. No movement of the field, nothing. And Nisa takes an easy single, keeps the strike for the final over. I just felt that England were right off their game in so many ways today. It was back to Brisbane possibly, in terms of the poorness of the play, in my judgment.
I think that's a fair reading.
Now, it's not even as if Australia were particularly good. Their fielding was superb. Their fielding was their strong point today, I think. But everything else, apart from Head's innings, was just good enough as far as Australia was concerned, and England weren't. Sorry, that's quite damning, I know, but
no, I think that's right, more than fair.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Any excitement in the studio that you can share with us? Any moments of note?
We had Hector having to leave a shift early in an attempt to get into the driving test queue, which is always a fun conundrum, one I'm trying to deal with myself at the minute. So we had to dash off at 5 to 6 to try and beat the rush, and only to find 4,000 people in the queue already, or something ridiculous.
I don't understand how England keeps functioning at all.
That's
such basic stuff in terms of keeping society going. It's like not being able to get an appointment to go and see the doctor. Which had a National Health Service. Sorry. On my hobby horse now. it just doesn't make sense to me at all. Well, thank you very much, Ed. It's been lovely talking to you today. I hope from your point of view, it's not quite as miserable tomorrow, because apart from Root, today was a pretty bleak day from England's point of view. I'd say.
Agree.
And we look forward to you joining us tomorrow. If you'd like to support us, please go to patreon.com/Guerilla Cricket and find out the ways in which you can support us through that and the benefits that are available to you. And this we'll do another report tomorrow evening on what's happened then. Until then, thank you very much. Good night.
There's the bear in there, and Hendo as well. There are jingles they play, and swear words to yell.